I know it's a busy time, and we appreciate you giving us a few minutes here during the lunch hour today. Coach Briles, I'm going to start with you. Give us a sense of what it's been like for you the last several weeks. Obviously, it's different than it has ever been. Virtual meetings, then on the field. Tell us about your offense.
Yeah, Chuck, it's obviously been different for not just our program, but every program across the country who's playing football right now. And we've got Coach Pittman, who's done a tremendous job with his leadership and putting us in great positions to still try to maintain as much normalcy as we can with our players. Being able to use the Teamworks or Zoom videos throughout the spring and summer and try to get as much knowledge to our guys until we started practicing. And now the last couple of weeks have felt a little bit like fall camp. We've had a little bit more time in between practices, a little less time with the guys. But I still think we've been able to find a common balance and get enough work done to where we're keeping our guys healthy and still getting what we need on the field. So our team's been working extremely hard. I think everybody's extremely eager for 2 weeks from tomorrow, and hopefully we can keep pressing on towards that day.
Coach Odom, I thought some of your comments early on were interesting. You talked about you were able to do a lot of teaching in the virtual classroom. Even though you weren't on the field, you were able to implement the things you wanted to implement at a pretty steady pace. Could you talk to us about how you kind of worked through that?
Yeah, Chuck, thanks for having us on firstly, and also thanks to all the foundation members and making our student athlete experience the best it can be. I'm proud to be here and part of Coach Pittman's staff, a great group of young men that we get to lead and guide and direct every day, and a great staff that Sam and Hunter put together, and really honored to be a Razorback and happy to be here. You look at going back a couple months when Kendal and I got started, he building the offense and me on the other side defensively with our staffs. You've got to, I think more than anything as a coach, you're a teacher, and you've got to be every day, you've got to find ways to motivate and lead your team. And then you're doing it in a virtual world. At some point for us this off season, it became strictly like we're doing now. And, I think I became a much better coach because everybody learns at a different pace. Everybody learns a different way, but you got to find that for each individual and what works best for them on putting in a new system and a new scheme. Our kids, number one, were eager and hungry, and they wanted as much knowledge as we could give them. They wanted as much information as we could. And I think you look back at the progress that they made through putting it, into play over the virtual world. And then now the reality of what we've been able to do the last couple of weeks on the field, they retain the information. They've been eager, and really everything that we've put out in front of them, they've accepted the challenge. So we're excited about our group. Like Kendal was saying, 2 weeks from tomorrow, we get to kick it off, and excited about that opportunity.
Coach Odom, tell us what you want your defense to be like. What do you want their identity to be? What will we see from a Barry Odom defense?
Well, you look at a number of characteristics on playing good football in the SEC. And number one, you've got to be able to stop the run. You need to be a great tackling team. We want to eliminate explosive plays. They're going to make plays on the other side of the ball. We understand that, but we can't allow explosive plays. And when you do those things, now what are the characteristics that allow that to happen? You got to play fast. You need to have a physical element on the way that you play, and you got to play together. And we've got to be known for, the factors that we carry with us each week. We got to play well together. We got to be in position that we understand what everybody around us is doing. And that's part of making the game plan simple enough that they can go play fast and use the physical skills and the traits that they have each week. And if we do those things, find a way to get the ball back for our offense, all of those things structurally are something that we've started talking about really from January. And we talk about it every day in our meetings.
Coach Briles, I'm going to ask you a similar question. What are the hallmarks of a Kendal Briles offense? What are the things you want this offense to be able to hang its hat on?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, Arkansas Razorback offense first. We've got a great coaching staff offensively, and some of the same things that Barry stated, but production over everything. You want to be productive. You don't really care how it looks. You just want to have production on the field. And like Barry said, starting back in January, that starts with protecting the football. And that's going to be the number one thing that we preach every day. Our guys are going to hear about it. We're going to coach it. We're going to practice it. It's going to be a big emphasis for us because that ultimately can determine, whether or not you're on the right side or the wrong side of that scoreboard. So we want to be able to protect the football. And then, being on the same page and having great communication with our guys up front to be able to give us a chance to not take negatives. I think in this league, you got to stay ahead of the sticks. And if you get in bad D&D situations, then it's going to put you in an uphill battle. And we definitely know with the people we're playing against that we don't want that. So got to be able to put our guys in space and allow them to play really fast pre and post snap. We'd like to be a tempo offense and be pretty aggressive with throwing the ball vertically down the field and then having some good, obviously run game. We got some good backs and having some QB run game as well. So like to be versatile as we can and be productive.
People are going to start talking about the quarterbacks if they haven't done that already. It's interesting, though, some of the guys have been here. Obviously, Felipe Franks has not, but they all kind of started on the same page because you all jumped in this together. Give us a sense of that group and what you ask a quarterback to do in this offense.
Yeah, we've got a great group. There's been, Jack and John have been here and KJ Jefferson and brought in Malik and Felipe. So we've got a really strong group. A bunch of good guys, first and foremost. They love being here. They love being Razorbacks. They're proud of what they get to represent on a daily basis. And, all those guys are wanting to be great. And as a coach, you certainly appreciate that. Guys that they're going to come up, they're going to get the extra film. They're going to be asking questions that are meaningful. They take it hard on themselves and they don't do right on the field. So I really appreciate the work that those guys have put in, not just from a football standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint on and off the field. So very, very fortunate to be in that room and coach them. You want them to be productive. The bottom line, the quarterback, you can say is going to win and lose you games. And a lot of that's true. That ball goes through him every single snap. So he's got to be an extension of us as coaches on the field. One of the things that we tell our quarterbacks is we feel like predictability is the most important ability. And, I should know where that ball is going on every snap and hopefully the quarterback's on the same page as that. So, and through that, you got to be protecting that sucker as well. So hopefully we'll have a lot of production out of that room.
Coach Odom, defensive coordinators look for playmakers the same way offensive coordinators do. And you've got potential in that area. And in my sense, and you can talk a little bit more about this if you would, you've got guys who want to be coached. I mean, they want to be coached hard and they want to play well.
Well, you look at the group and really you always, the years that I've been a coordinator or a head coach, you try to build your defense really in our league from the front line back. And we've got to be really good up front because in this league, we all know we've got to have the opportunity to stop the run. And that's not ever just on the defensive line, but winning at the point of attack, that's so hugely important. You've got to have enough guys that you can rotate in that area and stay fresh. You look at up front with Isaiah Nichols, Jonathan Marshall, both of those guys inside. Xavier Kelly has been a nice addition there on the outside with Dorian Gerald and Julius Coates. Eric Gregory has stepped in and played a number of spots for us. So there's been a number of guys that really have continued to improve over the course of our camp that we think structurally up front, we've got a group that can play a lot of snaps. We can rotate some guys in, hopefully keeping them fresh. And then on the back end and maybe the second level, as you look at it, Greg Brooks has really stood up and kind of stood out in a lot of ways, just production wise on how he's played. He's played fast. Buster Brown at one of the corner spots, we feel good about the way on the progress that he's made. He can line up in a number of different roles. And I think as Kendal was talking about a little bit offensively, some of that goes, Chuck, into how you play defense also. We've got to be versatile. We've got to be multiple. In this conference, I think if you sit there in one coverage or one front, one way that you play, that it's going to get exposed pretty quickly. So we've done a lot of cross training in our defense on, just because you're lined up at a corner spot on play one. You might be somewhere else on play two, either a nickel or a dime position. And then up front with the ability to play an even and odd front and do that within the series, that's going to help us as we get into the heart of the schedule. And again, I go back credit to our kids, and they wanted to be coached. You know, the things that we put on them, they've embraced, and they continue to grow each week in every practice.
I want to get both your thoughts on this. Given the situation, pandemic, depth is always important. It seems like it might even be more so this year. Coach Odom, I'll start with you. How important is it in developing depth, not just from an injury standpoint, but from the standpoint of none of us really know what's going to happen week to week?
Yeah, Coach Pittman's done a great job on leading this organization. And one of the first things he said to our team once we started is this: it's going to take everybody to get this done. He's going to take every single person in this room. And that's before any of this even hit. So the message was already set. Coach already set the foundation of the importance of everyone in our program on doing the things that we need to have a chance to be successful. And then you never know, how plan A is going to be. You get plan B and plan C ready. And that's been so true as we've been into, the virus and the things on how that's adjusted our practice schedules and, the number of guys throughout. Whether you've always got a plan. If you're a second team guy, you're a play away from being the starter. And now the same thing with the third team guy, whatever you are on the depth chart, you got to prepare like you're the starter. And if you do that, then when your name and your opportunity is called, then you're ready, you're prepared, and we won't miss a beat. But a lot of the credit, all of it goes back to the foundation that Sam set in place when we started on the importance of it. Doesn't matter if you're the starting quarterback or the fifth team, defensive tackle, your value to this organization is so important.
Kendal, I'd like to get your perspective on that too, if we could.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck Berry, he said it all. We're going to need every single player on this team. And, we're blessed to have a lot of guys that are paying their own way to go to school here, because those guys are extremely valuable to be able to get through practices, to run and do the things that you need to do on a daily basis once you get into scout teams and all those sorts of things. So literally since January, Coach Pittman has been stating that we're going to need every single person on this football team. And like Barry said, it rings true today. And the thing that I know that we do have is that we have a lot of players that are from this region, from this area, and they love Arkansas football. They love the state of Arkansas. We want to be able to represent the state in a fine fashion. And you got a lot of kids that are going to stay here and play this game when, it makes it, a lot of ways it makes it easy on them to leave. And they want to be in this program. I think they believe in Coach Pittman and his vision, and our coaching staff and our strength staff has done a tremendous job with those guys from a mindset standpoint as well. So I think we got a lot of guys that are hungry, and they're going to be ready when their name is called.
Guys, you've been gracious with your time to join us today. Kendal, thank you. Barry, we're glad you're on our side now. And we look forward to the football season. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Go Hogs.
Coordinators, Kendal Briles and Barry Odom.